Everyone, welcome to LTV Lab. Today we are joined by AJ Patel, who is the Senior Vice President of Global Growth at UBeauty. A little over 30 days ago, our team at Dispatch placed several e-commerce orders from UBeauty, and today we're going to dive into their full customer journey. So everything from the website shopping experience to the post-purchase marketing emails and SMS messages that we received, the unboxing experience, and so much more. So we're going to break down exactly what UBeauty is currently doing well, and there's a lot of it. And then we're going to just break down the opportunities to increase their repeat purchase rate and drive higher customer lifetime value as well after sending billions of emails for clients in the space. So AJ, welcome into the lab. Really happy to have you here. Before we get into our specific experience ordering from UBeauty, we'd love to give the viewers some context about who you are and what they should know about the brand at a high level.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you mentioned, I work as the SVP of Global Growth for UBeauty. I've been with the business for a little over 3 years. Prior to this, I spent around 7 to 8 years at Unilever Prestige, working across their portfolio of prestige brands. In terms of UBeauty, we're a luxury skincare brand, and really, I would say that we're more of a technology brand versus a skincare brand. We have a triple patent pending technology called Siren Capsule. And the best way I could describe it is if you were to use weed killer on your grass, you wouldn't want to impact healthy grass with weed killer. You would want to really just target certain areas where there were weeds that were there. And UBeauty, with its Siren Capsule delivery mechanism, only targets areas of your skin where there are problems, and it leaves healthy skin alone, basically.
Got it. Okay. I love that example that you gave. And we'll get into it, but I honestly just learned more about the tech behind the product than I did in the last 30 days in like receiving the probably 25 plus emails that was received. So that was really helpful for the audience, but it was actually also helpful like for me as well. I did catch some of that information on the website, but we'll definitely get into like what was communicated to us during that post-purchase phase. And yeah, generally just really good to know. So AJ, who do you consider the ICP of the business, and like who is your core customer demo?
Yeah, it's definitely, we skew heavier for females, although we do have a high percentage of our customer base, which is also males. Typically kind of your late 20s to late 60s, up to late 60s kind of age group. Higher net worth, our products are definitely on the more pricier side. And, like I said, we invest a lot in research and development and technology and are constantly innovating. And so, yeah, and that the products are multi-benefit products too. So they don't just kind of serve a single purpose. For example, our resurfacing compound, which is a hero product of the brand and the one which started it all, actually replaces 8 different products. So it's multifunctional benefit, obviously a little bit higher of a price point, and yeah, definitely cater more to that higher net worth individual.
Got it. Okay, super helpful context. How do you personally, as VP of Growth, how do you view the role that email and SMS specifically play in the growth of the business today?
Yeah, they're hugely important. As a business, we've taken kind of the approach that we don't do a ton of retention advertising across paid media, and we try to capture as much of that replenishment through email and SMS, just because there's no cost associated or minimal cost associated with both of those channels. And so both of those channels are hugely important, and it's really the main area where we're able to communicate with our consumers. So we utilize those pretty extensively. I know you mentioned receiving a huge number of emails. We try to keep in contact with our customer base as much as possible and re-engage them if they're kind of falling out of the flows and falling out of kind of the funnel.
Got it. Okay, that's great context. In terms of like purely driving revenue, would you say that email and SMS are some of like two of the top three or four most important channels right now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I would say that email is definitely has always been kind of the proven retention channel, and SMS nowadays is becoming more and more important as you have changes to inbox placements, iOS updates, things which are happening within the actual inbox, which may lead to your brand messaging falling outside of the primary inbox and falling into promotional tabs and things along those lines. Um, SMS is super important. There's a little less kind of avoidance of the brand communication within the SMS channel, and I think that it's just a way to directly connect with the consumer on a one-to-one basis too.
Got it. Okay, great way of looking at things. We're unfortunately way too familiar with all those challenges that you brought up in terms of inbox placement. And I'm sure a lot of brands watching are. So definitely a good thing to consider when you're talking about SMS. Okay, so I'm actually curious because you've used the word retention now a few times. And of course, like we're going through the post-purchase experience after buying from the brand. So like a lot of what we're talking about is in driving higher repeat purchase rates, higher LTV and retention. How do you currently look at email and SMS on the acquisition side of things? So like when we talk about like, oh, welcome flow, like abandonment messages, let's say, yeah, talk to us about that.
Yeah, we utilize MTA, and we are always using flows as a testing ground for the brand, especially for our campaign emails. We utilize that to really test what messaging is going to resonate. From a new customer acquisition, obviously, you have your welcome flows. There's obviously promotional messaging, which you're sending, and campaign emails, which you're sending to the consumer base. And so, we really look at tailoring that messaging towards where the consumer is within the conversion funnel, and making sure that we're providing them as much incentive to convert as possible, whether that be through education, through a discount or GWP. Um, yeah, I think that testing of the messaging is really important for us too. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys may have gotten different welcome flows, because that really is a really important place where we test the messaging and test offers, etc. too.
Got it. Okay, cool. Now on the retention side, so like when we're talking metrics around Klaviyo and retention, like yes, of course, there's like the open rates and click rates and like revenue, but really like when we look at the channels holistically, we just want to try and use these tools because at the end of the day, that's all they are, to really achieve like business level goals. So I'm curious to know, like, when it comes to the retention metrics that the brand is currently focused on, like, what are the high level, business level goals you're trying to hit when it comes to email and SMS? That could look like higher repeat purchase rates. I know you have subscription, so it could look like higher subscription opt-in. Yeah, curious.
Yeah, I would say that for us, it's repeat purchase rate is one. Obviously, we really love it when our customers convert to subscription. You just see a huge increase or improvement in customer lifetime value from consumers that are on there. But I would also say like lifetime margin is really important to us. We want to make sure also that the product assortment is growing for each consumer, so share of shelf, and making sure that we are selling just more than a single product to a consumer.
Got it. Okay, cool. And my last question before we get into it. So you mentioned subscription. Well, actually, I mentioned subscription first, but while we're on the topic, how big of an impact does subscription have on the business? I think you said like it's nice when people start that subscription, but is it something that you're actively focused on growing?
Yeah, 100%. We're super active in growing our subscription channel, and we're actually working through a migration right now. So probably by the time this show airs, next week we'll have a new subscription partner in place too, which is really exciting for the brand and for the business because it provides a lot more flexibility and functionality that we didn't have before.
Got it. Okay. And just because I'm personally curious, maybe our audience is too, what was it that sparked the action to, I know it's a big change and like on the technical side, there's a lot that needs to be updated. What was like the spark that made you realize like, okay, now's the time where like this is going to make a big impact to change?
Yeah, I think like we looked at the core set of functionality that we had in our existing program and kind of we've gone as far as we can with the existing service provider that we're using. And we're moving over to a subscription platform called Skill, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. And
Hmm.
we looked at kind of the set of kind of platform functionality that it had, and it provided a lot more flexibility for us to do more surprise and delight, to save more consumers when they were about to churn on our subscription program, and also just to cross-sell and educate the consumer more too. So I think those were really important factors that went into our decision. I know it's interesting that we're probably doing it in Q4, but there was a lot of work that went into that in terms of getting the flows and getting all the functionality set up and making sure that we had a best-in-class program. So we're excited about it, and I think that our customer base will also be very excited once they see what we have to offer and what's in store.
Yeah, amazing. Happy to get into it now. So I'll go ahead and share my screen, and we're basically just going to walk through the entire customer journey that we experienced collectively, and also like there were some differences between us as customers and how we were messaged, how we were treated. So yeah, let's get into it. So Saf is going to walk us through the ordering phase. So when we actually went onto the website and ordered, yeah, take it away, Saf.
Okay, so first thing when I got onto the site was I saw the pop-up, which is beautiful. Let's just say first and foremost, your imagery is stunning across the board, which I loved. Um, One thing I did find really interesting was that I had to confirm my cell number with a code before actually being able to subscribe to SMS, which I haven't done with another brand before. It might be kind of common and maybe I'm out of the loop, but I thought that was interesting. But did add another step to the process. And then I also noticed that the pop-up kept appearing every time I visited the site, even after signing up. But I will say each pop-up that I saw was super cute, so at least it was like really nice to look at. But I'll pause there, Elliot, because I think you had a note here.
Yeah, I did. So basically, for anyone watching this episode, if you're not familiar, what Beauty has in place right now is basically what we call in the industry a micro commitment step in their pop-up form. So what a lot of pop-up forms do, which everyone can recognize, is like they come up and right away it says something like you've got an exclusive discount, give us your email address and subscribe in order to get the discount. A micro commitment step looks like this, where before the brand asks you for what they want in exchange, which is your email address, they're asking you as a customer, like, do you want this no-brainer offer? You've got an exclusive discount. Do you want it or not? Who's not going to click yes, claim discount? There's nothing else that we have to do as a customer in exchange here. So the vast majority of people are going to click claim discount, and that is it basically ties into a psychological principle that basically says that once you get someone to make a micro commitment and say, yes, I want something, when you ask them for what you want in return, they're going to be much more likely to give it to you because they've already committed to the process. So all of that context said to basically say, this is a very good pop-up form that I'm sure converts very well. In 2025, there are next evolutions of pop-up forms, which can be much more beneficial to brands that also convert at a higher rate. And basically what those pop-up forms look like are there's zero-party data collection forms, where instead of just saying you've got an exclusive discount, claim discount, what it would say is something like you've got an exclusive discount. To claim it, let us know if you fall into like XYZ category, or if you prefer XYZ like solution to the problems that you might have. And basically what that does is it allows you to get a point of data on that specific subscriber and a specific customer that allows you to then personalize your messaging to that subscriber as they're going through the welcome flow, as they're getting abandonment emails, even as they're getting campaigns to help with your segmentation as well. And those pop-up forms can actually convert better than like a micro commitment form, because it still is a micro commitment form. It's saying like we're not asking for anything in exchange at this point. And I'm just curious to know, AJ, like if that's something that you've considered at this point or not.
Yeah, it's something that we plan on testing. We just recently onboarded with Alia, who I'm sure you guys are also
For sure.
familiar with. And that's something that's in the work right now. We also have a version of the forum which is going to be more educational based. So there'll be an additional incentive for consumer to learn more about the brand, and we can educate throughout this funnel to get more information to the consumer around Siren Capsule technology.
Got it. Okay, awesome. Yeah, shout out to Alia. They're awesome. Um, I am curious to know, and I don't know if you've like put this test together yet or not, so I might put you on the spot here. But one of my favorite questions to ask brands is like, what is that one data point that you would want to know about a prospect in order to help how you're framing what's essentially like your sales argument? Like, here's exactly why you need to be buying from You Beauty, and we're going to tell you exactly why and which products you should start with because of this one thing we now know about you. So like the examples that I just thought of top of mind are like, what are your skin type? Like, what's your primary skin concern? But is this already something you've mapped out, or like, how are you thinking about that?
Yeah, we have captured. We used to have a quiz on site. I think, given the limited assortment of products, we just didn't feel like it was a great value for our brand. And like I said, our products are multifunctional and engage differently with different skin types. So we did capture skin concern and actually skin type previously. And we actually
Mhm.
strayed away from that a little bit just because it kind of diluted the messaging of the brand and what our key value proposition is, which is the Siren capsule is going to personalize itself based upon the skin concern and skin type that you have. So um, there's already that personalization element within the product, which is going to meet the demands of multiple different skin concerns and skin types. We use fractions of actives versus traditional skincare brands. So whereas you have vitamin C, Siren may have a 10% vitamin C, we're using fraction of a percentage of an enhanced vitamin C, just because of the way that the Siren capsule technology works itself.
Got it. That's actually very, very interesting. I do still wonder, like on the marketing front and on the communication front, like if there could be like a personalized attempt if you just know the specific problem that someone has, like communicating that even though like yes, this is for everyone, like we're going like the product is personalized, which is such an amazing USP and like sales argument, just communicating like why you need it because of like that one
Yeah.
data point, like what your skin type is. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think within the educational flow that we're building out right now, there is that
Mhm.
element. So based upon what a consumer would select is based decides what educational tract they'll actually take within the pop-up journey too. So
Got it. Okay, very cool. Can't wait to see it.
From here, honestly, it was very straightforward. Overall, super good experience. I went through the site. Everything was organized really well, which me being who I am as a person, loved that. It was super easy to find all the different categories that I was looking for, as well as browse by area, skin type, product, category, that type of thing. Um, One thing I did notice while on the site was that you had two sets that were basically the same product at two different price points, but it was removed from the site. So I guess you guys caught it before I could even flag it. Um, but definitely something to be aware of in general, just in case. But I will say your product pages were so incredibly helpful. Just even your drop downs in terms of what's included in the kit, the exact benefits that you're going to get written in bullet points. So I didn't have to read paragraphs to find out what a product actually did. The key ingredients were super, super visible, which was also really helpful. And then the FAQs, I will say, are probably the best I've seen. I'm kind of a beauty, I don't want to say beauty junkie, but my background was in beauty for a long time. So I can definitely appreciate this a lot. Um, but just having that FAQ right there beside the product was great. Um, Even like how long will a tube last or how long does it take to see dramatic benefits? I really, really appreciated having everything in one spot because there's a lot of good information in there. Um, from there, we placed our orders. And one thing I didn't notice I don't know if you can see my little call at the bottom, was I loved seeing that at no extra cost, 1% of your of your order value is going to be donated. I didn't even notice that until I had gone to the checkout page and I was like, oh, what is this? But loved that that was included there. Because it really shows like you're not just about making money, you care about the planet as well, which was really, really nice to see. I feel like you don't see that very often these days, at least not so obviously. So that was really, really great. And from there, honestly, it was really just a pleasant process. No complaints in any capacity from the ordering or shipping process.
At this point, because we did place like different orders, I'll just share that like I placed an order for the super hydrator, I believe it's called. And I actually started a subscription because it was the first time that like a subscribe and save offer was good enough to sway me. Typically, like I want to try the product first. So like I'm not one to start a subscription, but for a product that is priced like at the premium that you guys are, that definitely like was a very good stopping point for me. So I started that subscription on that product. Kayla, what did you get?
I got I think it was called the Body Trio. It had the dry brush and the resurfacing compound and something else. I can't remember what it was now. And it was like a
The
That's the
hydrator.
screenshot.
And the super body hydrator. Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to have that context about what we each ordered. Cool. Anything else you want to share, Seth?
Just the unboxing, I put pictures right beside that last screenshot just for the viewers to see how absolutely amazing their packaging is. But I can wait if you want to look at the first couple emails first.
I might forget to come back here, so let's just look while we're here. I also thought your packaging was incredible. What we've talked about a few times on LTV Lab, because we always review the unboxing experience and packaging, is like marginally better than basic packaging doesn't really make a difference. Like if you have a basic brown box, basic packaging, and then like you do something marginally better, it doesn't really make a big difference. Like we're just expecting to get the product in good shape. But when you really go above and beyond, and this is for any brand watching, like when you really take that extra step, it absolutely is noticed. And it just adds so much immediate value to how you feel about the brand and like the value that you associate with the products you're about to use. And I think you guys have absolutely nailed this. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say it right now, that smelled incredible and was an amazing intro to the brand.
Yeah, I love
We're actually
getting the
elevating
freebies.
this. Yeah, we're elevating this experience even more in the coming weeks. So next time you'll see an even better experience than what you're experiencing
Okay.
right now.
Love it. Were any of these others videos or just pictures?
Those are pictures.
Just pictures.
Okay, cool. But yeah,
Did any of you get the white void fill? We're testing a new kind of packaging material. I don't know if any of you got it. It was like a sustainable bubble wrap kind of feature. And then we have smart sampling now, where we're sending out little packets of different samples. I don't know if any of you guys got those too. It's like 5 or 6 different sachets. Maybe not in a bag.
Oh no, yeah, I just got the perfume and the
Okay.
that other.
Maybe it was right before we launched that, but we're launching a new test, so it'll be interesting what you guys think of a new experience in the future. We'll send an example over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a really, really nice touch though. And I am curious to know, AJ, like with things like these, just like sample packs, are you actively measuring the like purchase rate from people who get a sample, or like how are you trying to leverage it?
Yeah, we look at sample to full size conversion, and that's how we dictate what samples we're going to include, when we're going to include samples, We do surprise and delight too. So everything that's associated within the unboxing experience, we try to ascertain not just kind of an ROI, but also an understanding of what that customer impact is going to look like overall for a customer lifetime value perspective too.
Got it. Okay. Well, I can personally say you guys are crushing it. At least that's how I felt when I got it. Cool. So yeah, now we're going to get into what happened in the 30 days after placing our orders. So we did have a few notes on what was received before we actually placed our order. So obviously email and SMS as tools are super powerful on the acquisition side as well. And yeah, I'm happy to just like dive in and like we'll start going through some of the high level notes we had about like what as customers we felt could have been optimized. And I will say like, this is like you'll notice this as we go through things. The points that we're making here are a blend or an immersion of our experience as customers and what we would have liked to see potentially, as well as our professional experience after sending, like I said, a billion emails at this point, yeah, over a billion emails, running hundreds of A/B tests and generating over $50 million in revenue. Like we try our best to really blend that professional side of things with the actual customer experience. So with that said, I'll pass over to Lauren for like the first bullet over here.
Yeah, when I was going through the various emails, there wasn't a lot that really jumped out as like needed to be major upgrades or changes. Like, it reads very well and everything flows nicely. Just in some instances where there are large blocks of copy, like in this first email here, just breaking it up at like a natural point into 2 paragraphs makes it a little bit easier to read. But other than that, it reads very well as it is. Even a little bit lower on this first email, I understand the need to have these product descriptions for the ones you're highlighting in the email. I would either see if there's ways to condense it a little bit because it does start to look a little bit like there's a lot of copy in the email, and just leaving that more on the product landing page when we get to them from these emails. But other than that, almost like I was struggling to find stuff to really highlight and point out as like these need to be updated. So from my perspective, it reads well, and these are just minor tweaks that I would suggest.
Yeah, and I'll say too, like on the creative front, I don't think that's where the major opportunities are. Like we'll point to what we think those are. But yeah, definitely echoing Lauren in terms of like the small tweaks we're suggesting are based off of our A/B testing data and like not really what is going to get us to come back and place a second order. Okay, so basically moving on here, this from a strategy perspective, I'm actually really curious to know if this is something that like CX and your CX team has dealt with, AJ, and like how you think about this. But personally, when I was shopping, like I said, I started by placing a subscription order, and I went to try and use like my welcome code that I received, and it wasn't applicable on the order. But I actually didn't like realize that at the time. So I placed the order like at full price, and then I reached out to customer experience, customer support, and basically said, hey, I just placed the order and realized like I forgot to apply my code for 15% off. Is it possible to just refund the amount of what that 15% would have been, which a lot of brands are happy to do. And the response I got was, hey, Elliot, your order contains a subscription item. As stated on the subscription page, these items are not eligible for an additional discount. Please see the screenshot attached from the page. So basically, and I'm really curious to hear like if this is something that you deal with or how you think of it. But when I like did sign up, it isn't, or it wasn't communicated that clearly to me that like it wasn't applicable on subscription. And like I basically combed through the entire email to see like where it was like dictated. And it basically says somewhere really below at the end here, like may not be combined with existing subscriptions. And like that was kind of it. And on the product page as well, I guess we saw this like when SAP was going through. I actually didn't realize until right now. SAP is very different than I am, where like she went through every single FAQ because she likes to know all the details. I didn't feel I needed to know all the details. Like I didn't open those. And I do see here you have a section on like, can I use a discount code on a subscription? But from my customer experience, at least when I went to the site and just like signed up for the exclusive discount that I was getting and then got the email, like I was very much led to believe that I would get that 15% off. Is that something that like has been a conversation at all or CX has dealt with?
We haven't actually had, so I actually go through a lot of the CS feedback and comments that we receive, and we haven't received a ton of complaints around that. We do exclude value sets and subscription orders from our welcome offer just because they're already discounted, and we typically don't want to offer a discount on top of a discount. Just from a brand value perspective too, doesn't build up the equity in terms of our product efficacy and performance too. So yeah, it's something interesting, and maybe we should consider adding that more prominently within the email and SMS it on a PDP too. So yeah, it's something that we can investigate and see if it
Yeah,
makes
and I
sense.
actually do see that like you do communicate it a lot more clearly, like on like in SMS than in
Yeah.
email. I really didn't see the text message, so like that was my experience on the email front. But definitely good to know. And like, of course, like I understand why that discount wouldn't be applicable, and like I was happy with the response like as a customer. I think a lot of e-com and just like site experience really comes down to like expectations versus reality. So that's basically it from my experience here. Cool. Next up, I believe this was a second like welcome email that was really focused on social proof. Moving on here, got a few more welcome emails. And then right here, I know that you said that, like you're going to start testing some zero party data collection, but I definitely think like in a recommended for you section like this would be a really, really good high leverage place to be able to offer those recommendations based on what someone needs, and even potentially just having like copy speaking to like why this is recommended for you. That makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'll pass it over to Lauren for one of his comments over.
It's just one of the things that I've been preaching and we've been talking about for a while now is the importance of contrast in copy and the background color. And obviously black and white is easy as it comes to achieving that contrast. But when the writing is a little smaller, it actually makes it a little bit more difficult to read. So the only thing I would have suggested here was for the body copy underneath the enjoy 15% off to be a little bit larger, just so you can actually appreciate that contrast and read the copy really clear.
Yeah, that's something that we're definitely working on improving because sometimes our copy does, especially on the mobile device, appear very small.
Got it. On the strategy front, Kayla, is it something that you experienced yourself?
Yeah, so I was receiving welcome flow emails after my order was placed, asking me to use my 15% discount, even though I had already used it, which again, just kind of, I'm ignoring them at that point because the subject line and everything, and the first thing I'm seeing is like, use your discount. I'm like, I already did this. I'm waiting for my product. So if there was a lot of valuable information in this, I'm not getting any of that or this cross-selling because you're selling me a 15% welcome offer that I've already used. So
Already used, yeah.
yeah, so just kind of like being conscious of like where people are on the journey. And so perhaps that's having a separate welcome flow for people who are coming through like Shopify, who have already placed an order that has all of those brand information. But really in reality, I should be going through like a post-purchase flow rather than a welcome flow at that point.
Cool. AJ, I think this is like one of the best USPs that you have, like this one-on-one consultation. I just think it is really, really smart from a customer service perspective and also just like a conversion perspective. But it's continuously like buried at the bottom of these emails and isn't really given like the attention it deserves, I would say. And the other thing is like it's such a strong like message to lead with once you already have someone's phone number, like basically sending a message from like CS support, let's say, like asking if you want to schedule your one-on-one consultation or if like there's any questions, let's say. And I'm just curious to know like how the brand is thinking about like this channel, I guess, or tactic of the one-on-one consultation, and like how useful it is, I guess, like for you guys right now.
It's super useful actually. So it's something that we're looking to expand further. And we have a whole additional strategy that we're going to be testing out in the coming months around this in particular. So I think that this could be really, really interesting sales channel for us too.
Yeah,
As we start to utilize customer service, not just as a cost center, but as a sales center too.
100%. Cool.
We have expectations on our staff, so it's really they're able to educate the consumer with a little bit more clinical authority versus a standard customer service agent too.
Yeah, and I would love that. That's awesome. Cool. Then we just got a shipment notification email on the 25th as well. Shopify order tracking email, pretty standard. SMS on the 2nd, no notes, honestly, well done. Then on the 5th, basically just a product showcase type of email. Or was this like the Save My Spot, AJ? Was this a like
In launch, yeah.
got it? Okay, cool. Okay, and then yeah, Kayla had one comment on here. Actually, we both had a comment here. So you want to speak to this, Kayla?
Yeah, so basically just looking at the product recs, I don't know if these are dynamic or put in there on their own. But I noticed that like regardless of what we ordered, the same recommendations were there. So I think this is where it's like really important to know like what's your customer buying. And if you have that like zero party data information, being able to put like recommendations that like really do make sense or pair well with what's already purchased is definitely more impactful.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I'll have to look into it, but maybe you received a fallback because these are the standard fallback recommendations, but traditionally those blocks are more dynamic. So maybe there's a mapping issue that we'll need to figure out there.
Got it. Yeah, I actually received the exact same recommendations as well. And like I'd already bought the super hydrator. This I'm just gonna call out for any other brands watching because I think you're already aware of this. It's part of the reason you're moving to Skio. But like using like I started a subscription, so quick action links from Skio, which allow you with one click essentially to add something to your upcoming subscription order, are so effective compared to like having a subscription customer go through the entire purchase flow again, which like would have been really impactful here and maybe is like probably in the plans for Skio when that's rolled out. Next up, we got a free shipping right now, email on the 6th, so the next day. Lauren, you want to speak to this?
It's very minor. The only thing I would have commented on here is the fact that because the images are a little on the smaller side, a lot of them do look very similar. And I would just try to find, obviously, just the only way to do that is to either reduce the number of products per email to increase the size so we can actually see the difference between them. But other than that, nothing major.
While we're on the design side and speaking about design, do you want to speak to the redesign we did, Lauren? So just for your context, AJ, we put together like a quick redesign proactively just to kind of highlight again through the hundreds of A/B tests that we've run, what we typically see drive higher clicks and higher conversions. So I'll like definitely let Lauren kind of talk through what the defining like changes we would make here are. And again, like we would A/B test these against like what you're currently running.
Yeah, so the first one that we have in the middle is kind of an elevated version of the original email, just highlighting the same information in a very similar way, just kind of cleaned up slightly in how we would normally have done things from the beginning. So we'd have like the same header. We took the same header image. We just moved the copy around a little bit, centered the copy just to have it fit the frame clean, and everything else largely remains the same. We added some images just to highlight some of them a little bit more. The one on the right here is largely where we made some major changes, as you can probably see. We changed the header completely and just tried to make it punchier. We moved the CTA above the image, and we incorporated the bottle, or the bottle. Let's just say bottle, and we highlighted the different elements of the product very cleanly on different background. And then as you go a little bit lower, we kind of manipulated the image a little bit more. We expanded it, we moved it to the side, and we incorporated those USPs on the side just to really add some focus to them and really highlight the brand in a little bit of a different way.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear like what you think of this, AJ, and really like the big difference over here, like when you look at the kind of original email versus that last example. Like this is kind of like minor A/B testing versus like major A/B testing when we get to this last one, which is really like looking at, okay, like do our customers take the time to read all of this copy? Or do we want to give them a really condensed version where we're giving them the most important information in the most efficient like use of space? And I'm just curious to know, like, obviously what you think of this at first glance, but number two, like when you look at your A/B testing strategy, like what you're specifically looking at to A/B test.
Yeah, I think we look at kind of obviously revenue and conversion. Open rates is also, click rates is also very important, and open rates is very important for subject lines. Yeah, I think that some of these thought starters are really good. I like the approach of leading with the product image versus leading with a general brand image, and kind of having maybe some of that additional content with bullet points. Iconography is maybe not too on brand for us, but yeah, I think some of these ideas are really strong and would be interesting tests for us. I love the call out of like copper peptides and the ingredient story here. I think that's really great job.
Got it. Okay. All Lauren's credit there. Cool. So basically now we get to September 10th. So around 20 days after the order was placed. You want to speak to this point, Kayla?
Oh, yes. So this is the first time that the rewards program was like mentioned to me in my customer journey. So at this point, this email is basically asking me to leave a review, and then I'll get rewards points. So it's just curious more like, what is your strategy of your rewards program? Is it an important piece of your business? Just because it didn't seem to be kind of highly spoken about throughout my journey.
It is definitely, and I think we're trying to make it more of a focus. Yeah, but it's interesting that you didn't have any mention. That's something that we'll have to take back to the team and see how we can incorporate more of the rewards and loyalty program messaging throughout the post-purchase flow, maybe earlier on in the customer journey.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea of like when that gets communicated. Just because, yeah, I wasn't informed that we had you had a rewards program until like this point of leaving a review. And it was only like in small of that I'd get a few points for that.
Yeah.
I actually have like a tangentially related question, AJ, which is like, how do you look at the loyalty program in conjunction with your subscription program? Like, ideally, from an LTV perspective, it's probably best like get someone on subscription. And one of like our big takeaways is like how little subscription is really mentioned like in the 30 days after we place the order. But like they do compete a little bit when you're talking about like the benefits of starting a subscription and like earn loyalty points so that you can place another one-time purchase order potentially. So I'm curious to hear like how you guys are thinking through that at a high level.
Yeah, I would say both programs are really important to us, and they both work together really well too. So for signing up for a subscription, we offer a bonus incentive on our loyalty program. You're able to redeem your rewards on your subscription order too. So yeah, we try to make sure that they kind of work harmoniously together. I do think that we could probably do a little bit better of a job calling it out. Yeah, this is great feedback, and I love it.
Okay, cool. Got a few more text messages, a few more email campaigns. Like we said at the beginning, like your creative is extremely strong. So really, like we provided our A/B test suggestions of what we typically see perform better. But like you guys are doing a great job there. Really, no comments on these emails over here. Throughout the month, basically just continue to receive like more product focused campaigns. You do have a bunch of campaigns incorporated into your calendar that are talking specifically about either certain education. Like I do really like the framing of a bunch of these campaigns that kind of just set the tone of like why you should care about reading this email with just like engaging content, like Michelle's 3 steps here. But overwhelmingly, like pretty product focused. Over here on the 15th, received another review request email, and then Kayla received this email and had this comment.
Yeah, so I received this email. I did have the resurfacing compound in my little trio, but I didn't have the serum, and I really liked this email. I felt like it was a really good like upsell of like you have this is why this should go with it. The language was a little bit more around why you should purchase both or considering both. So maybe it was just a campaign related. This segmentation strategy maybe was around who purchased any of those previously. But I did really appreciate the kind of like comparison and the education. And I'd love to see more of that in the post-purchase journey.
Yeah, I think this is probably a good place, AJ, to kind of zoom out and think of the fact that like, unless I'm wrong here, because we all received very similar emails and because very few of these emails are like related to like the fact that we placed an order and are a new customer, how are you guys thinking about like having a dedicated post-purchase flow with like dedicated goals, like pushing subscription, pushing the loyalty program, really bringing into like people into the brand versus what it looks like is being done instead, which is like letting campaigns do the heavy lifting in terms of impressions after someone places an order?
Yeah, we do have post-purchase flows and different tracks actually based upon what is purchased. I think there's probably opportunities for us to refine those a little bit more. We've kind of been working step by step from the welcome series onwards, but maybe that post-purchase flow is definitely one which we could further optimize, especially around the call out of more prominently calling out subscription and a loyalty program throughout the flow is something which I could really see being beneficial for us. I guess I do have one question for you guys.
Sure.
One of the things that I've always wondered about is, do we over email our audience, especially once they've completed that first purchase? I just wanted to get your thoughts or feedback on that.
Okay, I'm very happy you brought that up, and I'm gonna give my answer as a subscription customer who started a subscription, and I'm probably gonna turn this into a question back at you. I found that it was a lot of emails for me to receive because like I've already signed up for the like product delivered every month. And at this point, like what would have been really valuable for me to receive is like complementary products of like what is going to work well with the subscription product I ordered. But like having CTAs to basically shop now come in because I received basically every single one of these same emails. So like I know that you're not actively like excluding subscription customers, which is my question back at you, which is like how you think about when and where to communicate with your subscribers. I found this way too many emails for me, considering like there wasn't really a relevant call to action and that's like the key word. It's like a relevant call to action for me to like add something to my upcoming order or for me to like come shop this complimentary product. Like I felt like my part of the journey was mostly done and I would have loved like the educational content, like the engaging content, but like being consistently like sold almost daily after starting subscription was a lot for me personally. So I'm curious to know like how you think about that relationship with subscription customers who are like a fundamentally different cohort than your like one-time purchase customers.
No, I appreciate that you're giving us that feedback. I think that there's definitely opportunity for us to optimize further how much messaging. And actually, this is something which we were recently discussing, and what we're communicating with our subscription customers and differentiating that versus the one-time customers, because subscription is such a large piece of our business. So, yeah, this is something that we're definitely going to have to work on and investigate, because I do think segmentation and making sure that we're not over emailing that customer base and being kind of annoying and jamming up their inbox is really important for us too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if this is something that you've talked about internally or with their team, like whoever's handling your emails. But really, like there are two ideas around how to communicate with subscription customers. The first kind of line of thinking is like never email them and like let that package show up once a month, once every 60 days. And like don't even remind them that you exist until that like next order comes through. Because if you do remind them that you exist and have like all these emails coming through, it's just like a consistent reminder for them to like potentially go into their subscription portal and cancel. And one of like the really high value tests that you could do is just take a look at like what happens to your churn when you send an email. Like I'd be shocked if there's no difference. But the other camp is like sending emails that are adding value to the subscriber. So like I said, like any relevant education that's going to help me like get the most out of the product that I'm already subscribed to, any relevant like cross sells, like if there are opportunities to like earn more points because of a promotion that's going on, like that's really the second camp. And there's not a right or wrong answer. Like we really let the data tell the story, but absolutely for any brand watching this, like you need to treat prospects, existing customers, and subscription customers as three different buckets. And you can't have a campaign calendar that is just like only bucketing everyone into one group. So yeah, like I wouldn't say it's fun just because the result might not be the most fun, but a fun exercise you could run, AJ, is like going to check that like churn to send date correlation.
Yeah.
I'll let everyone else speak to like what they felt about the email cadence as non-subscription customers.
So on my end, I was fine with the email cadence. Although it started feeling like they weren't all valuable to me because a lot of them weren't related to the products I had just ordered. So at the beginning I was fine. I was opening them all. But yeah, kind of near the end I was like, hey, these aren't feeling as valuable to me because they aren't related to like what I had purchased. But I still didn't mind it too much. It was the SMS cadence that I did feel was overwhelming. Did get quite a lot of SMSs, so that cadence I would look into. But yeah, that one felt overwhelming.
Makes sense.
So basically over the final days of our 30 days post-purchase, we received a bunch more campaigns, which were pretty similar in nature to the other campaigns that we had received. And basically, like, just want to walk you through like what our prescription would be, AJ, again, as customers and as lifecycle marketing nerds and experts. So basically, like starting with what we loved, I'll let you speak to this, Kayla, your point.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot of education throughout like the campaigns. So I really appreciated all of the education.
I also thought that campaign content was generally like very engaging and like design was really good. Copy was good. Like you guys know who you are as a brand and stuck to that very well. So I did feel like I like learned about who the brand was. On the packaging and unboxing side, that was really like the standout to me at this point. I think we're probably 45 or so days after purchase. When I look back at the last 45 days, like the unboxing is absolutely what stands out to me, like compared to any email or SMS in particular that I received. So like when I think about the brand and when I think about my thoughts toward it, like that did play a huge contribution, which is even surprising to me because I think a lot of people undervalue, including myself, like how packaging can help you build that retention into the brand.
I also would say I really appreciated the free samples, especially like the perfume, because you never know when like purchasing online, like, oh, am I gonna like this smell? So yeah, I liked being able to try in small samples some of the things that I didn't buy. And the perfume is on my Christmas list for my loved ones to buy me.
I love it.
There's that LTV. Love to see it. Cool. Now let's talk about like opportunities to drive higher repeat purchase rates and LTV. We'll zoom through this. What was your first one, Kayla?
For me, it's about making sure people are using the product, because ultimately, if they haven't consumed your product, they're not going to reorder. So finding ways to encourage that usage, this can come in like a variety of different ways. Like for me, like demonstrating on how to use the dry brush, more education around like using how to use the product, when, where. I know that's on the PDP, but like also sending it in an email in like a post purchase of reminding of like, this is when you should use it, tips on how to incorporate it into your everyday routine. Because for me, like 30 days later, I haven't used all of my product yet. I didn't really get in the habit of using it regularly. And I kind of wish there was some more of that habit building to bring it all together, and also communicating like what benefits should be seeing. Why should I use this regularly? What should I be seeing 30 days, 10 days, 60 days, etc., from like continuing to use the product?
That makes a ton of sense, and I think there's a huge opportunity for us to improve there.
I'm going to zoom through these, but we already talked about like a dedicated strategy for subscription customers, how important it is, like using those quick action links from Skio to allow customers to add products to their next order super seamlessly. And then like what Kayla just talked about is the same for subscription customers. Like just because they start a subscription doesn't mean that they're going to consistently use the product, doesn't mean that they're going to use the product the right way, doesn't mean that they're going to really see the benefit of why this product is better than what they were using before. So really just like focusing on that education to build up the habit of why they need to be using this product that they just brought from U Beauty every single day. Next up, like zero party data to just ensure that product recommendations are relevant to every single customer. Encouraging subscription in evergreen product emails instead of one-time purchases. Like subscription definitely wasn't talked about enough, in my opinion, to the in the emails that Kayla staff received. Improving communication about the loyalty program. So like really, like it does seem like you have a great program in your hands, and like just communicating like all of the value that customers can get from it. And then honestly, this is one of the biggest things, and this actually is what started in our conversation before we got into the journey, but like improving the education around the scientific differentiation to make it clear why customers should only be choosing Beauty and not other brands that offer products that look on the surface like they all deliver a similar result. And like you have so much amazing information on the Siren technology page on the site, and I fear that a lot of customers, similar to me, never made their way onto that landing page on the site and didn't receive any emails like explicitly telling them like why this product is going to just act completely differently once they get it into their system compared to another product. And again, it's like as a subscription customer, I already bought, but like yes, the cream felt great. And that's one of the things we didn't talk about. The product is amazing. The product is great, but like it's to continue justifying the value. I do think it is important to reinforce that like it feels great, but also here are the 10 things that it's doing inside of your system that like your previous moisturizer was not doing for you. And this is why it's working so much better and why it's really like why it really has the value that it should.
Really appreciate the feedback, and I think that there's a ton of great insight here. I think that, I've done a number of different podcasts. It's definitely a more unique format, and I love it. I love to get the insight from a third-party lens, because being in the business day to day, you're seeing the same things over and over again, and having that third-party view is really helpful. I think it would be great for us to make some changes to the program, and maybe in a few months' time, once we've made some of these updates, for you guys to experience it again and see if you think that things have improved. So I think that there's definitely a ton of great content and a ton of great feedback, and I'll be sharing this recording with all of my team too. So appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the kind words, AJ. Really, really appreciate the time that you spent with us going over this. And yeah, we are now huge eBeauty fans. I think I can say that for everyone. So yeah, thank you so much. And thanks to everyone for watching this episode of LTV Lab. See you in the next one.